Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Today we are taking a look at a Marvel Legend figure that has been on my hit list for a long time. I think since this movie, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, originally released, and I have not seen this figure in stores anywhere. Even when the figures were initially released, this Spider-Man 2099 has eluded me. So, picked him up on GameStop's website, had a gift card, pre-ordered my X-Men 97 Wolverine, which I am so excited. It's going to be releasing June 27th here in Canada. That re-release of a very ultra expensive Marvel Legend figure. So I had to get some other figures to get that free shipping, and why not? I had my gift card, picked up this guy and a few other figures you saw in my previous video in short. Part one of our epic May unboxing of a massive amount of action figures. But I really wanted to focus on this guy. It's the first time I'm getting this guy in any kind of action figure form. He's one of my favorite versions of Spider-Man. Now, this isn't Peter Parker in the future. It's not Spider-Man Unlimited, which I don't suggest you watch. It's not the best show. Maybe some people like it. Man, I remember the first episode just turned me off big time because Venom and Carnage looked absolutely atrocious, in my opinion. But that's okay. People like it. Go for it. Watch it. Enjoy it. It's a different take of Spider-Man. But this one is from the 2099 universe. Miguel O'Hare, a very cool looking and different Spider-Man. It's not a recycled Peter Parker. It's very kind of reminiscent to Batman Beyond and Terry McGinnis, who's not really Bruce Wayne in the future, but a separate character with relations and ties to Bruce Wayne. That's a whole other story. But this one here, I'm very excited. Let's take a look at the packaging and the deep dive into this figure and see how he poses up against other Marvel Legends and some other figures you might have in your collection. So let's take a look at the packaging. All right, so the packaging is very well done. We'll give it that. The packaging does have, the spider characters on the side, excuse me, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's very in-your-face packaging. It's very cool. It has that frenetic kind of feel to it. Very exciting. And then on the back, we got the full glamour shot of our Spider-Man 2099 and the other characters that are available in this series. Now, I think I might pick up a couple more figures from this series. I think I definitely want to get a Spider-Gwen. I see how she fits in with my other Marvel Legends. This one definitely, Spider-Man India, such a standout in the movie, and such a cool-looking figure as well. One of the most unique variants of Spider-Man. And then this Prowler version of Miles Morales. Man, he just looks cool. And then this one here. Really cool. Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker. I definitely want to do some work on him because he has etched in webbings throughout the entire costume, but they're not painted in. So I definitely want to take my Gundam panel marker and do some work on it and just have some fun and see what I can do with this figure. But this is the main attraction today. Really excited for this guy. All right, so let's take a closer look at our Spider-Man 2099. And first impressions overall, getting this figure out of the packaging, I was very surprised. Now, I did a lot of research, checked out a lot of other videos just to see what the generalization of this character is, of this action figure. And for the most part, it's a negative, and it kind of baffles my mind. I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Hey, whatever you like is what you like. But the way certain people trash this figure and this entire line, I don't know. I think they just do it for, to be cool and different. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm edgy. And it's like, whatever, dude. Whatever, man. I speak my honest truth. If I like something, I like it. If I don't, I'll let you know. But I wouldn't trash it just to try and fit in. That's ridiculous. But whatever, man. If that's the way you want to rock, you guys out there, and you know who you are, the haters on Marvel Legends, on DC Multiverse, on pretty much everything that we hold dear to our hearts. Dude, get a life sometimes. That's what I gotta say. But hey, this is how you want to be. Whatever. Rock it out, man. Anyways, my first opinion of this figure, when I took him out of the packaging, I was impressed. Now, it does have some limitations, for sure, but it has some really good qualities. And I think if you gave this figure to a kid or to an adult who's a collector, I think both segments would be really happy. So let's take a closer look at what we got with the packaging. So we got this awesome, very cool looking Miguel O'Hare head sculpt with some really nice stylization in the hair. This looks just like he popped out of the movie across the Spider-Verse and into your hands. It is so well done, in my opinion. I really enjoy the look of it, and it definitely has that comic book version, a bit of that styling as well from Rick Leonardi, one of the main artists on the Spider-Man 2099 comic book back in its original release, and it looks great. You also get two-fisted hands with a lot of detail, a lot of paint work going on. It's nice, crisp, clean, it looks great. And then you get two sprawled out hands. One's on the figure, of course. And there's, again, really nice paint work, very good attention to detail. The only thing that I would have really liked is a little bit of a talon going on here. Because in the comic, he does have those talons. But again, this is not a comic book version. This is across the Spider-Verse version. So I don't think he really had those talons going on, but man, that's a really nice look. Then the figure itself. Now I got him on a DC display stand here. I'm just gonna pop that off. And he looks really nice. The stylization looks so good. Now, this is more animated proportions, right? He's got this massive V going on here. Very broad chest, tiny head, smaller legs, tiny feet. That's kind of like the animation style. And I would love to see this guy go against some Batman animated style figures from McFarlane Toys. I think that would be really cool to see how the aesthetics kind of compare. But for my opinion, for a Marvel Legend, I think it still could go into your comic book versions of other characters. Now we'll see that when we do some comparisons, but he's got some great looking paint. It's very crisp, clean, no bleed through on the blue. At first, I thought I would hate these extended talons going out because they just look odd, but I kind of like it. Kind of reminds me of some very, very different bat scallops. I think it looks really cool and just gives some real definition to the character. Now, he does have his little wristband here that keeps him in status, so to speak. So when he's time jumping, he's not getting all shocked and changed up and phasing in and out. Now, I've seen people remove it. I tried. Man, this does not come off. Maybe I got an older version, not from their initial release, and it's glued on because, man, I couldn't get it off, and I'm not going to damage the figure. But it does look pretty cool, right? And something different to add your Spider-Man. And now all the detail here. Now, he originally gets his costume from a Day of the Dead parade he was dressing up for, and it was in his closet. And damn, this is a pretty cool kind of a homemade costume, or maybe he bought it at a store or whatever, but for the Day of the Dead, to celebrate the Day of the Dead. So this has that kind of a little bit of a luchador look to him, but the spider is just really cool the way it just keeps going down. This is all sculpted detail, not just stamped on deco. Really nicely done, and I really appreciate that. And then the head as well. Classic Spider-Man 2099 head sculpt. Looks phenomenal. And hopefully we'll get a new version of this guy in the Spider-Man Retro Card series. I'd love to see some head swaps, what that mask will look like compared to this, because we have a lot of different styles for this Spider-Man 2099 throughout the comic books. And again, tiny little feet for that animated style, but nice, just nice little details and touches throughout the character. He doesn't have that spider cape going on, which I think is okay. I would like to get that original version as well if I ever find it, just so I have that spider cape going on. And I think that one is a lighter blue. This one has a darker shade, so there's some variance going on, which is okay. But let's swap on that unmasked head and see how it looks on this figure. The figure was really good looking with that masked head sculpt, but man, I think it looks even better with the unmasked version of this head. It is just striking. I really like the way it looks, and just cuts a very good silhouette because the head is larger, and so it's more comparable with the body, which is very large, super broad shoulders, and the head sculpt here, it's just really tiny. Let's take a closer look at this head sculpt. And as you can see, man, how does he fit his head in there? I don't know, but I think this head should have been a little bit bigger, but I think to capture the aesthetic of the animation, they had to go with this little smaller head. But still, this looks absolutely fantastic. So let's take a look at some of the articulation on this guy. Marvel Legends are super articulated. I'm really starting to appreciate that extra bit of articulation that they have. This one is a little bit limited, but still captures some really good nuances of the articulation from a Marvel Legend figure that we know and love. So, the head. It's on a disc, or actually, it's not on a disc. It's on a ball pit, but it doesn't have any extra articulation at the neck like some of the GI Joe, or actually almost all the GI Joe classifieds have, and some Marvel Legends I've experienced as well. Doesn't have a disc hinge either, so the articulation is a little bit limited. And I do want to warn you guys that when you're swapping off the heads, the masthead is extremely tight. It stays on there, and you got to use a lot of force. Or what I would do is just put a little heat, put some a little hot water or a blow dryer, and it'll pop off no problem. You don't want to damage that neck pig. So he does have some side attitude going on. Can look up, not too much. Down, not too bad. He doesn't have any butterfly hinges, but he does have the ball joint, and he can get up pretty high. He does have the bicep cut. He does have, well, just, it is double, but man, you don't get a lot of movement. Like, that's really about it. The tight joints that these guys have. Don't want to force it anymore, but he does have that a little bit extra hinge there. The hands do go up and down, totally swappable. Now for the abdominal articulation, this has been a point of contention with me and some of my old Marvel Legends that I collected probably like 12 years ago. This joint would just be so loose, he'd flip-flop. And here's a shake test. I don't feel any shaking in the hips. I don't feel the chest rock back and forth. It's tight. So they fixed that issue on a lot of figures. And the figures I've opened, which I don't have a ton that I've opened, but what I've opened, none of them have those glaring QC problems that plagued them a decade ago. So I'm very happy to report that. And he can rock back. And look at that. The attention to detail there. The sculpted details continue up through the ab. Awesome detail, man. And he can rock down quite a bit so you can get into some poses. But unfortunately, the head just needed that, I think, that disc hinge, which gives him a little bit more movement, but still pretty good and very tight as well. He does have the slit here, the cut. Wish this was a ball joint. I love the McFarlane diaper, or the underoos. I don't want to call them a diaper because the superheroes don't wear diapers. It's an underoo that just hides the articulation here, and you can give him a ball joint and rock it back and forth. Wish they would have done that. He does have ball joints at the legs. He has a thigh cut right here, double jointed knees as well. Ankle articulation, ankle rocker pivot, everything going on. No toe articulation, but he is pretty well versed in articulation, so it's not too bad. Let's get him into a cool action pose. You can imagine him swinging on a spider web, but man, that is cool. I really like this figure a lot. And he poses very well for, a little bit limited articulation, but he still looks great, and he has great posability. Here's another one of Spidey 29, just kind of grasping and just sprawled out. Oh, it looks really great. I actually like this figure with the unmasked head more than the masked head. Is that weird? Let me know in the let me know in the comments below what your opinion is. I'd love to hear it. What do you think of this guy? So let's bring in some other figures that you might have in your collection and see how they size up against this Across the Spider-Verse Spider-Man 2099. So on the short side, we got to bring in our Itsy Bitsy Wolverine. And you can see there's a massive height difference between these two, but it's in scale, right? Wolverine is like, what, 5'2"? This guy definitely feels like he's more than 5'10", probably like 6'1", 6'2", who knows, but he looks great. Even seeing these two guys together, the scale is, what it is, but they could still really look cool on a shelf together. Some unmasked heroes. Then we have our Secret Wars Captain America, and these two look good, even though they're different style aesthetics, right? The animated version and our true kind of comic book style, they both look good together. And I think, this guy doesn't have the musculature. He's very smooth in that classic animated style. But I think these two could kind of get away with being on a shelf together or doing some epic battles. It could be really fun to see that happen. But man, good size comparison for sure. And then with our superior Iron Man, these two look great together as well. Now, this Iron Man got a lot of dislikes in the Marvel Legends community for some reason. Every review I've seen, they've just trashed this guy. But he's got an organic symbiote suit. So he kind of has this kind of wet texture look to him, which on camera doesn't really bring up as much, but he just looks great. He poses so well. I would like to maybe put some panel lining around the mask outline and the edge just to give it a little bit more view. And boom, he just shut off his repulsor. But he looks great. I really do like this version of Iron Man. It's unique, it's different, and the unmasked head looks awesome as well. But yeah, these two guys look pretty cool together. Maybe some epic battles are in the cards for these guys. For a larger scale figure, we got our Thor here from Thor. Well, it's Thor Ragnarok. It's not the MCU Ragnarok, but it's still a very cool looking Thor. Closest thing I have to that 80th anniversary one, which I'll probably never get, but it's a classic version of Thor. And the height difference, yeah, you know what? Thor could even be a bit larger, I think, and it would work. But this isn't too bad. I really like the longer proportions on Spider-Man 2099, but yeah, just a little bit larger on the next Thor. Hopefully, we get a comic book Thor maybe next year. I don't know if he's coming out. Anything's really coming out this year for Thor, but a bit bigger Thor would be greatly appreciated. And then for an even larger Marvel Legends, we got our Death's Head, which is an incredible action figure. It was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive from last year. Picked this up at GameStop, of all places, yeah. And he's just an awesome looking figure. I enjoy this figure, the character. Man, he's had some epic battles so far in their little shorts that we do, and this could be a good matchup as well. I love the beefiness of this figure and the size comparison against a lot of other Marvel Legends, and just suits the aesthetic of this big hulking kind of bounty hunter destroyer. Very cool looking. And for our DC Multiverse, one of my favorite figures that has been released so far in 2025 from McFarlane Toys in the DC Multiverse lineup is our Batman Begins Christian Bale Batman. One of the coolest figures I own. I really love this figure. Just hits on all the bases. The cape, the bodysuit, the colors, the gold, everything pops, the head sculpt. So these two together, on a big side of a Marvel Legends, a little bit bigger, still a little bit not too bad, I think. You know, on second thought, it's not too bad. Batman's probably like 6'4". This guy, let's say he's maybe 5'10", 6'1", 6 foot. I like the way they kind of scale up, and this does, you know, the style, of course. This is a very animated style, and this is as close to a movie version of, yeah, Batman. They still look pretty cool, and there could be some epic battles. You never know. Stay tuned. Even with our good old friend Shadow of Spawn from the Mortal Kombat video game series, which McFarlane keep putting out Mortal Kombat figures. I know they're doing the retro line, but man, I would have killed to have seen Mortal Kombat 1 figures. Hopefully, that'll happen in the future. I want to see more modern interpretations, because really the classics are just repaints of the same body mold. You know, we're going to get Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and they're all the same, and it's just okay. And then we're getting a Power Ranger kind of colors, you know what I mean? Hopefully they continue on with this Spawn, well, Mortal Kombat lineup. We do want to see more Spawn, and we're getting some more, but I love this look. You know, this one is so 90s. It just has such a cool feel to it. And this Spider-Man 2099, although he is a character from the 90s, he just feels different. It feels high-tech version. This one, it just looks great. I'm really impressed with this. And of course, this guy's just a lot beefier, streamlined Spider-Man 2099, but they still look really good together. And for our final comparison, here's a Mattel Masters of the Universe Masterverse figure. A little bit of custom work. He's got a Marvel Legend Icarus head rocking that body. And this is as close as I can get to a 2000X version of He-Man, and I really enjoy this. And these two guys actually look good together. They compare and scale quite well. You know, I expect my He-Man to be a lot taller, beefier. And of course, proportions are just massive on He-Man. They look like he's Masters of the Universe, man. He's a master. But this one still looks good with the slim aesthetic. It looks great. These two guys on the shelf, you know, hey, why not Masters against some Marvel Legends? Why not? So my final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man Across the SpiderVerse Spider-Man 2099. I really enjoy it. It surprised the heck of me how much I like this action figure. Now, take away the fact that he's a great looking character with a stellar comic book, and he's still kind of relevant today. They're still doing some stuff with them in the past few years. But he's just a cool action figure that it's sturdy, well built, has a good feel to it. Man, like I said, I think my nephew, who's young, would have a hell of a time playing with his Spider-Man figure and just, you know, swapping off the head swapping out the hands. Just, I could see him really having a good time with this figure, and I wouldn't have to worry about it breaking because it's solid. And then for an older collector like myself, an adult, I really like it too. It just hits a lot of aesthetics that I like. The color scheme, the big, bulky beefiness of the action figure, and then the swappable heads. They're fantastic. I really like the unmasked version more, which is weird because I usually like the masked versions more, but this is a great action figure that I would highly recommend picking up. If you have any interest in any of the figures from the Spider-Verse universe, this is one I would definitely get. Some of the other guys, like Miles, just looks way too skinny and kind of fragile looking. I think that figure would break 'cause it's just such small limbs. But this one is big, beefy, great articulation for what he has, and he just looks really cool. I'm really happy to add this guy to my Spider-Man collection and my Marvel Legends collection. And guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. Remember to always like, comment, subscribe, help build the team, build up our OG universe, the community, and just have some fun. So if you haven't subscribed, it doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe and just like the video if you like it. Great. And I totally appreciate all the feedback that I've been getting. And yeah, let's just have fun collecting. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm loving doing these videos. And I genuinely had a great time filming this and playing around with this Spider-Man figure. So there you go, guys. Thanks so much, and we will see you in the next video coming soon.